Okay. That's good. Klein's going to say whether you're going to have your own rule of an essay or not.
How does it?
It's great. If he likes you, he'll.
Rabbi was the first one to get an essay in Pittsburgh. Not that bucket over. It's sitting next to me in the sugar, but I was opening the box. I took one. I said, "This is yours," and I'm using.
Mine's mic should be facing toward us. We're switching the mouth. Or that way, as long as it's facing towards you, that's fine. That's good.
Okay.
So, first of all, just B'Tur Akdama, sometimes you go to a shir like yesterday. So at the end of the shir says, so what's the answer to the question? It's almost as if they were here from the beginning of the shir till the end of the shir to get the answer to the question which was on the post, on the sign. So we'll make a moidah, just make a disclaimer that the question on the sign maybe depends on the shir. But for today, the question on the sign is just a hook to get people to come or to get people intrigued to come to the shir. But obviously, when it comes to the bottom line,
That's why I have all the kids here.
when it comes to the bottom line answer to the question whether you need to buy a set of Minim for a child, younger child, different ages, we'll talk a little bit about it. So obviously, ultimately, the bottom line is it's a question which a person has to ask a Rav, Mashpia, depending on, in every case is different. Sometimes if a person has 5 children under the age of bar mitzvah, so then for him to go buy a lulav for every single son, so what?
I support that idea.
We will know how much money you're getting from Rabbi Oldine.
Yeah,
by
that
the
could be.
conclusion.
So it can be very expensive. So obviously, sometimes the answer can depend on the circumstances. Bichlolos, we'll say the bottom line right now. So anyone who's came just for the bottom line, they can listen the next few minutes and then they can leave, right? The next 45 minutes will just be for the people who are interested in the discussion of how we get to the bottom line of the various issues which are involved in this sugya, which when someone asks the question, do I need to buy a set of Minim for my 5-year-old, for my 8-year-old, for my 12-year-old? So what goes into it, right? Another thing is that when someone comes to shir and it's a bottom line, you want to know, the question is, can you have a shower on Yom Tov? The problem is that I took a shower on the second day, right? The person coming to the shir could have taken a shower on the second day Yom Tov. So you're giving a whole shir how you're not allowed to have a shower. You're making people uncomfortable. At the end of the people coming to the shir want to, you're making them uncomfortable. At the end of the shir, you're telling them no. So we're going to start off the shir by saying that first of all, yes, it's ideal. Bichlalos, the bottom line is the answer to the question is that ideally one should definitely buy, if possible, a lulav for a child, especially if he's over the age of, specifically if he's over the age of, say, 6 or 7 or so, we'll speak, till bar mitzvah, and for each child, each individual over the age of, we'll see the age soon, but let's just to age 6 or 7 or so. But if you don't, then you definitely have who to rely on. So either way, you're basically okay. But again, it's a question which is specific to the circumstances, specific to each person and each person's level, each person's circumstances, how many children he has, exactly. Yeah, of course, just the boys. So women are parted from lulav even when they're adults. So the minhag is that women do take lulav, right? It's one of those things that the women took upon themselves. The Rebbe says in Hilchos Tzitzis, not so many people know this. When people speak about this is parenthetically, when people speak about women being chayav in apart from mitzvah seishes man grama, and we know that there's certain mitzvahs that they were hichmiru al atzman, so that people quote the Rabbi Kiva Eiger, famous Rabbi Kiva Eiger, who says that women were noyagos lahachmer al atzman, the mitzvah shofar and lulav, and some can say sukkah as well, which is difficult to understand because women aren't necessarily noyag to always be makbid on sukkah. But it's interesting to note that the Alter Rebbe in Hilchos Tzitzis, I believe it's from the Taz, and Hilchos Tzitzis, he writes over there clearly that the notion when noyagos, in the context over there, why women shouldn't wear tzitzis, is considered yu'era for women to wear tzitzis. So in that context, he says it's not similar to shofar and lulav, which the noshim when noya goes lahachmir latzman, some sort of lashon. Hilchos Tzitzis, the Alter Rebbe says it. So upon him, there is a concept that women are machmir upon themselves to do lulav and shofar at least. And but there's no chiyuv, and if you want to talk about buying a girl or lulav, already there's no need to do so. But so we're talking about over here.
That's where they're even allowed to make a bracha.
Even allowed to make a bracha, right?
Even allowed to make a bracha, but those
Right. The Ashkenazim make a bracha on mitzvahs that they're not mechuyev. So but that's just understanding. So yeah, the bottom line is that yes, ideally one should buy a lulav for a child, which is igir lechinuch, whatever that age may be, until bar mitzvah. We'll soon see why. But if you don't, then you have what to rely on. The angle where the discussion comes from is that when I'm not so old, but when I was growing up, certainly in the Babbage circles, people didn't buy lulavim for their young children. The more literature circles, maybe they were starting to get into it, buying dal minim for the young children, for the children. But growing up, and then so sometimes that you see this discussion which comes along. Someone comes along and says, no, you need to buy a and he brings all the Sfarim out and he shows them here in the Mishnah, the Mishnah Berurah and the Pri Megadim and the Magen Avraham, whatever. It comes out that you need to buy a lulav, a dal minim set for children. And then the other guy says, what do you mean? I've never seen such a thing. What are you telling me coming with new chumras to throw me, right? So there's often some tension between the way where we always did it. Yiddishkeit's been going on for hundreds of years a certain way. And then someone comes along with a sefer arguing that you need to, so that's a little bit what's at the core of what's going on over here is that people on the one hand said, what do you mean? I never grew up with my own lulav as an 8 or 9. My father never bought me a lulav. And now suddenly Service Hashem is telling me that every single child needs to have their own lulav. So what's going on? So there's again
saying it for a different reason.
For different reasons. Then we got the reasons.
No, they're saying
Okay, yeah.
But there's also another very practical reason. And
Okay.
that is that once upon a time, getting a lulav and esrog was a whole different story than it is today.
Right.
You go to Rabbi and say, you have any leftover lulav and esrog? He said for $5 you can have this. So once upon a time, to get even a lulav like that was a yikara mitzvah.
Right, exactly. And people didn't even have a lulav for themselves. They had one set for the whole city. And
Right. So that's where it comes from.
Exactly. So we're going to get to that. Okay. So just to so that's just the Torah Hakdama. So the bottom line is yes, ideally one should, but if you don't, you definitely have what to rely on, as we'll soon see. Okay. So just to what comes into the question, which there's really 4 different topics, because I'm going to phrase the question slightly different. The question is, do you need to buy your child a set of dal minim? And what about this year? Let's just what about this year, where the first day of Yom Tov is on Shabbos? Do I need to buy a lulav for my son this year? So that's a second variation of the same question. And if we phrase the question that way, then we have 4 different subjects which we need to discuss, right? And what are the 4 different subjects? One subject is, does the lulav need to be mine? Does a lulav and esrog need to belong to me in order for me to be yotze the mitzvah? That's one discussion. The second discussion is the chiyuv of chinuch. What's the chiyuv of chinuch? What's the chiyuv that I have to be mechanech my child to shake the dal minim? At what age does it start? What does it mean exactly? Can I give my child the pasal lulav? Sometimes you see people, they give the child a lemon, they give the child a pasal lulav. Is that worth anything? Is there any point to it? So that's the second topic, which is really not specific to lulav. It's a general question which can be discussed about chinuch in general. And when you mechanech a child, at what age does it start, and how mehuda does the child, how detailed does it have to get? How the child has to keep the mitzvah exactly like his father, or can we make compromises, and so on and so forth. That's the second discussion. The second topic, which comes into the third one, is the question of the second day Yom Tov versus the first day Yom Tov, or shall we say, when I say, I mean specifically the second day. We'll soon see that there's a difference between the first day of Yom Tov and other days of Yom Tov of Sukkot with regards to the lulav being yours. Well, the question is whether the second day, which category does it fall under? Does it fall under the first day? Does it have the same din as the first day? That it's got all the chumras of the first day, which we'll soon see, or does it go with the others? And finally, there's a 4th thing, which I'm not going to get into, but just you need to know, the Torah Hakdama is the din that a katan can be klein without going into the different shittas and different. But let's just keep it simple for the moment, that a katan can be klein ve'enoi makna. That katan is able to be klein. Something you give something to the katan as a present, you give something to a young child under bar mitzvah as a present, it becomes his. On the other hand, because he doesn't have das, so he's not able to be makna, he's not able to give it over. So those are the 4 different things, different subjects, which different halakhic things, which are really all separate, which intersect in order to get to our final answer to our question whether one needs to buy. Why there might be a need, shall we say, of buying a child before he gets to bar mitzvah his own set of lulav and esrog. So let's first with number 1. We'll start with number 1. So start with topic number 1, which is the inyan of whether the lulav has to be yours. Does the lulav and esrog have to be yours in order to be yotze the mitzvah? So the pasuk says, In Parashas Emoy, or Lekachtem Lachem by Yom Rishon, that's what the passage says, that you should take for yourself a lulav on the first day of Sukkot. So firstly, you have to Agdama, just assuming that Baruch Hashem may become the Chacham, Rabbanim, Rosh Yeshivas here, but there's also just for everyone, there's children, so all sorts of levels. So just to start from the basics is that you have to understand. I mean, the mitzvah of lulav is only on the first day. The mitzvah of lulav outside of the Beis Hamikdash is only the first day. The passage says you need to take for yourself a lulav on the first day of Sukkot. And the end of the passage is and that you should rejoice in front of the Eibishter for 7 days, which we understand, which Chazal understand to mean that there's a mitzvah of lulav in the Beis Hamikdash for 7 days min Torah. But in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or even in Sfas, so the mitzvah of lulav midorais is only on the first day, and after that there's no mitzvah min Torah of shaking off, not the second day, not the third day, not the fourth, none of the days. Midrabanon, the Rabbanon were misaken. In order to remember how it's done now, there's no Beis Hamikdash. In order to remember the fact in the Beis Hamikdash there was a mitzvah of lulav for 7 days, so we midrabanan there's a mitzvah of 7 days. That's number one. The mitzvah min Torah of lulav is on the first day, and on the second day, third day, and so on. The mitzvah of lulav is only midrabanan, and this has obviously practical ramifications, which we're not going to go into too many of them. But one of the practical ramifications we will go into is the question of whether you can use someone else's lulav on the second day. The passage says, you should take for yourself a lulav on the first day. So the second day, maybe it doesn't need to be mine, right? And that's taka de halacha, and the Mishnah says in Sukkah Daf, I'm not going to, in the Mishnah says in Sukkah Daf, I think, the Mishnah says clearly over there, the Amru Chazat, I'm paraphrasing, that the Chachamim said that on the first day the lulav needs to be yours, but moving on, you can be yotza with the lulav of your friend. Okay, stolen is a machlekes, but let's not talk about stolen. For the moment, we're talking about a borrowed lulav, right? Someone gives you permission to use his lulav, so the Mishnah says clearly. Gemara talks about it, and in the poskim all the way through, everybody it's clear that on the second day onwards you can be yotze with a borrowed lulav. Why? So this is the question why it's not so partial, because the passage said l'kachtem lochem b'yom harishon. So on the first day you need to take, then the other day it has to be yours. On the other days it doesn't have to be yours. But Tosfos, in the beginning of Perek Lulav Hagazel, and this was what I was teaching Girsa to in Masivta over here, and we were learning Lulav Hagazel, we were learning the Gemara, we weren't learning Tosfos, we were just learning the Gemara in the beginning of Lulav Hagazel. So one of my Talmidim, Akiva, asked a very the Gemara assumes over there that stolen over there is talking about stolen lulav. The Gemara is asking a question: why is a stolen lulav possible the second day? The Mishnah says lulav hagazel possible, which is mashma. It's possible the entire sukkah. So the Gemara asks the kasha. What do you mean? Yovesh, the Gemara asks, this is how the Gemara phrases the question. A dry lulav, I understand why it's possible the entire 7 days, because hadar bina, you need it to be hadar. Kadmon creates hadar, and Yovesh is not hadar, it's not beautiful. But stolen, why should it be possible past the first day? The first day, I understand why, because lochem. That's the Gemara's answer. That's the Gemara's answer, right? So the Gemara answer, not everyone agrees. I'm a who hold that there's no issue of mitzvah ba'aver over here for whatever reason, right? But the Gemara answers the taka. The second day gozel is also because of mitzvah ba'aver. But Tosfos asks the question, I don't understand what's going on over here. Just like I'm going the other way. I'm asking that on the contrary. The stolen lulav should be possible the entire set. Not my question. This is Akiva's question, Tosfos' question. That a stolen lulav should be possible the entire 7 days. Why not? Just like dry. Why the dry one possible? Possible creates hard. There's also only talking l'kachtem l'chem b'yom rishon creates hard. Elamai, we understand that the Chachamim, when they instituted to take a lulav and esrog, you take a lulav and esrog, the same lulav and esrog you took the first day. The Chachamim, kol mashatim the Chachamim, can derive, so however you want to put it. That the Chachamim, right? So Tosfos is asking Tasha, I don't understand. If Yovesh is we're taking for granted, the Gemara taking for granted, a dry lulav is kosher the entire 7 days. So why shouldn't it's possible the entire 7 days because it says harder in the passage. So it says lochem as well. Are you going to tell me it's only b'yom harishon? So then mimon nafshah. So Tosfos answers in the Rosh, and Alter Rebbe brings it down as well. I'll read the lesson of the Alter Rebbe. The way he says it is, on the second, it's based on this Tosfos' answer why there's a difference between dry and other issues, which we say is possible on the second day, regardless, even though it's only d'Rabbanan, and stolen, or for that matter, shol, in the Havamin of the Gemara. You're right, the Maskana is also because of mitzvah ba'aver, but a borrowed lulav, why is it takamut on the second day and onwards? So Tosfos says, and I'll say the way the Alter Rebbe says it, from the second day and onward. When the chiyuv of taking a lulav is only midrabanan, the person is yotzei chiyuv lechatchila with a borrowed lulav and esrog. Why? The chiyuv and shalom taking the words. Since they weren't masakin it, they were only masakin it zeichel hamikdash. There's no real mitzvah of love. They're just coming to remind you of how it's done in the Beis Hamikdash. They weren't machmit to pass on the borrowed a little bit answer. Why? Tivon she'ein kisulei begufay. Since the psul is not, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with the lulav nesrog. A dry lulav nesrog, it's dry. You look at it, it doesn't look good. Over here, it's a bona fide, it's a custard lulav nesrog. The guy who owns it certainly can use it. So since there's no problem with the actual lulav nesrog, that's what Tosfos, the Rosh, the Alter Rebbe, they all say that. The reason I think the question is better than the answer. I told them at the time. Yeah, I would say better. It's in a way that. How does it work exactly? Normally we say the Chacham Masakin can derai. So either way, bottom line is this: what Tosfos and the Rosh and brought down in the Alter Rebbe say that a borrowed esrog, or in the Havamid of the Gemara, stolen esrog, right? But a borrowed esrog is okay on the second day onwards because there's no psul beguf. There's no problem with the actual little esrog is kosher for the guy who owns it, so it's going to be kosher for someone else as well, since they were only Masakin Zeichel Hamikdash. Yeah.
You have a similar concept like that in the concept of sukkah. It says
Right.
Right. But yet, if you do the sukkah in your home,
right.
So we say once you take off the roof, not a problem. Why? Because the psul was not in the etzim sukkah. There was something outside of it that made it possible.
Right.
So over there, you say, although it's also.
Because the sukkah is very kosher, the skach is doing its job. There's some sort of external thing. Right.
Similar over here, the thing itself is okay.
Right.
It's not a yovish.
Right.
So the concept is a similar idea.
Yeah.
If you have a problem,
right,
with Tosfos, you have a problem with that halacha as well. You see, there is such a thing.
100%. Yeah. So that's really what we need to know for the first thing. So just to summarize what we said till now is that the person of the you have to take a lulav for yourself on the first day, and for that we understand. And the Gemara takes on the Mishnah and the Gemara and Tosfos, right? All explain what comes out is that a borrowed lulav is kosher from other days of Sukkot, not the first day, because it's only midrabban lechacham with tignas zeichel hamikdash, so they weren't machmir to passel anything other than something which is essential to the actual lulav and esrog. But over here, the lulav and esrog is kosher, it doesn't belong to you, so it's going to be okay. So that's topic number one.
And a shoal is good enough because it's considered as if it's yours. You know, in this context,
no. That's sukkah. That's a whole Hatzvi-Bais sukkah. By lulav, no, it's not yours, and it doesn't matter. It's not yours, and it doesn't matter. The Pasuk said that the Chacham said that when we're going to be masakin zeichel hamikdash, it doesn't have to be yours.
You don't have to have the cotton to be magnet for you even to become a shoal.
Let's get to cotton soon. But what are you saying?
I'm saying in order, a cotton is assuming a cotton can't be magnet, right?
He's talking about the third day of Sukkot now.
And I'm not saying a shayla. The cotton can't be magnet.
Can't give it to you.
He can't give it to you as a matana. He give it, but if a shoal, he's not lending it to you either because it can't be magnet to you as a shoal. But l'chura.
Yeah, there's people who talk about that. I don't want to go there, but
I understand when it belongs to the cotton, and the cotton is going in Klein. Same way, but the cotton is going inside. We're giving it back to you, which is, I guess, part of it.
Why does it have to be?
Oh, you talking? Yeah, no, I hear you.
Not that shoulder, because if you give it, you don't. Right. So therefore,
pastors. Yeah. I'm remembering things. I'm not sure what I'm remembering right now. Whatever. There's a lot of there's something exactly. There's something about that. The fact that the cotton's going to be even worse than I can't remember. Going to be even worse than the god of lending it. But anyway, let's do that. Yeah. On the first day, it's taka problem. Going to be a problem absolutely on the first day. A cotton who's the lesson bar mitzvah is going to be a problem. We'll soon see. There's going to be a problem, so we're going to get there as well. Yeah, but definitely cholam moed. There's no problem at all. There's no problem because he doesn't have to be yours. You can give right. It doesn't have to be the person using it. Doesn't have to be it. The first day, lechora, it would seem clear that the first day cotton cannot go mitzvah with his own lulav. He can take his father's lulav. No, not really. You won't be able to. Yeah. Okay. We can't do matanim. Okay, so Bekitza, just part one, yeah. Shal is possible the first day. Other days is kosher. How pack on the first day does an adult go mitzvah? That's just the big question. How on the first day does an adult go mitzvah or give his friend a lulav and esrog to use the first day? So it's clear in the Gemara that the way it works is, and preferably you have to say it. Look what you're right, Pastor. You preferably have to say it's a matanim and oslahak. So that you're giving it as a present. Which said the whole is the whole. all the days.
He would always say,
Yemim says even not the first.
Yes, exactly. But so that's a discussion for itself. Yeah, the discussion for itself. Why other days there's a minhag that the Rabbi and then Yom Yom implies that you should say Matanim Nas every day. But al pi halacha, the base let's the al pi halacha, the first day you need to say Matanim Nas Lahasi. You need to give us Matanim. An adult needs to give us Matanim Nas Lahasi because otherwise you're lending it to him. He's not going to be yotzei. So you're giving it to him on condition he returns, and it becomes his for that amount of time that he has the law of Neskin. He's doing the mitzvah. And I think that even if you don't say it, but the evidence it's okay as well because you're giving it to him to use the law of Neskin in a way that works for him, and therefore it's understood that it's Matanim Nas Lahasi. But definitely, ideally, you should say
if you don't say it,
it's kelu. Yeah, it's kelu. You said.
like you wasted with Kiyashefer, if you don't say the same,
You came to shul.
that's what you came to shul.
Came to shul. Okay, so that's topic number one. Topic number two is the issue of chinuch bichlal, which is that there's a chiyuv. We know that in Torah, a child is not chayav in mitzvah until he becomes of age, right? Becomes 13 or older. Midrabanan, there's a chiyuv that the father is mechoyev to be mechanech his children in mitzvah. So the makar, interesting enough, of chinuch in general is actually Masachet Sukkah. It's a Mishnah and a Brisa. This I will read inside. So what does the Gemara say? It says Gemara in Sukkah, I believe Mem Beis Amud Aleph. The Mishnah says like this: Katan hayidei l'naneh chayav b'lulav. Okay, the Mishnah says that a katan who knows how to shake the lulav is chayav b'lulav. If he knows how to shake, he's chayav b'lulav. The Brisa, let's just read the Brisa. The Brisa goes on and says a whole bunch of things. You'll soon see why it's relevant. The whole Brisa. Tan Rabbanan. So the Brisa over here, it's elsewhere in the Gemara and other places as well in Erechin, but here in Sukkah, Tan Rabbanan, Katan hayidei l'naneh chayav b'lulav. A katan who knows how to shake the lulav is chayav b'lulav. Is obligated. Is chayav in the midst of lulav. L'sa'atev chayav. But if he knows how to put on his tzitzis or his talis, then he's chayav in tzitzis. Lishmor tefillin. If he knows how to guard the tefillin with the proper kedusha and treat them respectably and different halachas and gufnaki and so on. So aviv lekek the tefillin, the father buys him tefillin. You did it. Right. That's the occasion.
Well, it's interesting to this lotion, and there we derive it.
Yes.
That each mitzvah is dependent on the age. There's no quotas.
Yes, exactly. So that's exactly. So that's what we're going to talk about. So this is the Mishnah and the Brisa and the Geya too. So everyone is busy with this. I don't understand. The mitzvah min haTorah of lekachtem lachem we know is really lekachtem lachem, right? Because there's all sorts of discussions about making the bracha, when to make the bracha, and if you hold the esrog before you make the bracha, so then you've got a problem that it's not over latziyas and the bracha is not before the mitzvah. And there's different eitzes given. People turn the esrog upside down, and we leave the esrog on the table until we make the bracha, so that the bracha should be over latziyas. So we know why, because as soon as you take the lulav and esrog, even before you moilech or maybe out, even before you take in all the different directions, you go to the mitzvah min haTorah. So the question is, why does a katan have to know how to shake the lulav in order to be chayav in lulav? As long as he knows how to pick up a lulav, I mean, he knows every kid, you give him the lulav and that's it. So why katan are you there and chayav lulav? So the bottom line is that basically what the Achronim say and others is that that's how the chacham misaken mitzvah of chinuch. The chacham misaken mitzvah of chinuch, that when a child has to do the mitzvah, he has to, the age, let's put it this way, the age by which a child is going to become obligated in chinuch, that the father has to be mechanic his child to do the mitzvah when he knows how to do the mitzvah properly. And that's the lashon, katan hayidei properly, meaning the way the chacham misaken, which is l'naneh. And there's a difference between the lashon haTorah and the Shulchan Aruch. The lashon haTorah is like the Gemara, katan hayidei l'naneh. Then he has to get lulav, and the Shulchan Aruch says katan hayidei l'naneh kedinoi. That the katan knows how to shake it kedinoi, which is based on the Yerushalmi. That the Yerushalmi says it's not good enough. L'naneh lo soifto. I don't remember the lashon of the Yerushalmi. No, it doesn't just mean l'naneh. It has to be moilek or maybe malamoid. He has to be able to shake it kedinoi, not just shake it around. He has to be able to shake it the way the chacham will misaken. Not going to right. So that's in the kodah. That the age by which any mitzvah say by mitzvahs lo yisaseh, by the way, is much younger. The mitzvahs lo yisaseh, you have to tell if you see a child turning on the light on Shabbos, so it's a much younger age that it's not as old as he understands, right? As long as he knows yes or no, he's a baravon, he understands that something's not allowed on Shabbos, so you have to stop him. It's a younger age, they'd say 2 or 3 years old, whatever it is, Shimon Gimel, whatever.
But it's the same concept.
It's the same concept, I understand. Yeah, it just happens to be that the Havana age is much younger to know not to do something than to know how to do something properly. Exactly. Right. So, but by mitzvahs asay, the shir advarim is how if you know how to do the mitzvah in a proper way. Katan hayidei l'naneh, lisatev, lishmoton, etc. You do the kid say he has to know how to do Katan Yidel and Aneh is the best example. He can do the mitzvah min Torah, you just give it to him, he's done the mitzvah. Katan Yidel and Aneh means he knows how to do the mitzvah the way that Chachamim will Misaka in Kedinoi the Mechab and Shulchan Aruch says, right? That's the age. What's that age? So the Pri Megadim and other, even though normally or often we say 6 is the age of Chinuch, he said, but if he doesn't know how to shake the lulav, even though he's 6, he's taken not chayav in the mitzvah at all. Megadim wants to say that maybe if he's younger, he still needs to shake the lulav, and his father doesn't have to buy him one. But just for the pashtos, a kotana yedel and anea, if he doesn't know how to be manane, he's not chayav in the mitzvah at all. Which means to say, it's a big chiddush that even though a cotton could do the mitzvah on the basic level, but if he's not doing it the way the Rabbanu or Masakin, which is to shake it in 4 directions, or maybe mal or moired, the 4 directions of it, whatever. So then he's not chayav.
Maybe
Right?
over here, there's also because this atesh means you're doing a pull-up,
Yes.
right? Over here, to pick it up, you're saying, when I tell you pick it up, you did the mitzvah.
So kotana yedel has to be on the mitzvah.
No, but he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not being, it's not like if I pick it up, I'm not doing a mitzvah.
You could find a middle ground. You could find a middle ground where he knows he's doing the mitzvah, but he can't. Okay.
I'm saying that when Anea is showing that when he's picking it up, he knows what he's doing with the mitzvah.
Right. Okay. That's not what I'm saying, but yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Absolutely. It's not what I'm saying. It's not what the Klein say. It's very, yeah. There's no reason why that's possible. Such a thing. You need to know he's doing the mitzvah, otherwise he's missed. You're saying the same thing. So that's the Loshen HaMishnah and the Brayse. Cotton Ayidin Chai Belolam. Cotton, right? So the question, so the interesting, so the Mechab, even before the Mechab, the Rambam Taka writes that Cotton Ayidel and Aneh Chai Belolam. The Cotton knows how to shake his Chai Belolam, open up the Torah. Right, the Rambam says the words open up the Torah and the Shulchan Aruch without getting into the difference of Kedinoi or not. There's another difference between the Torah and the Shulchan Aruch and the Gemara and the Rambam. The Torah and the Shulchan Aruch say Cotton Ayidel and Aneh Oviv Chayav Liknois Loilolam. His father, man, black and white. You want to know the father's Chayav to Losh and the Torah Shulchan Aruch. You don't need to. If you look at the Achroinim and what the Igros Moshe Sheikh the Levi and the say right. The Torah, as early as the Torah and the Shulchan Aruch already say the Mishnah from the Lashon Gemara. They changed from the Lashon Gemara, and they say that all Cotton Yidel and Aneh are not chayav below this chayav to do the mitzvah. But all of chayav lignas leilov. The father is chayav to buy him a lulav, and the marshal, the Hagoy, so the Torah asked the Kasha, I don't understand, why do you have to buy him a lulav? He can. The Brayse says chayav belulav. After the father uses it, he can give it over his son, like we'll soon see when we get to the next topic, right? That the father can't give it to the cotton before, because then how is he going to be Mekayim the mitzvah? But after he does the mitzvah, he can give it to the cotton, and it's done. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but that's what the Marshal asks on the Torah. And in fact, he goes further and he says, what do you mean? It's not just a stam. The Gemara itself is not. You can be medayik from the Gemara. Not only that you don't need to be, that you absolutely don't need to buy, because the Gemara says like this. Cotton, the Brayse says like this. Cotton, you did an anechai below. When it comes to lulav, yichai below. Tefillin, all the bloikeach late tefillin. That by tefillin the father has to buy him a tefillin. So you see a difference. And it seems, I don't know, that the Marshal, with the Achronim are busy with it, there's a Toifus and Erichin who talks about this, so it's interesting. And the Marshal has the cash on the Torah by Aksam. Toifus and Erichin, where this price is, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember all the details now. But either way, Toifus does. Toifus and Erichin, ask the cash. Oh, you're asking why? You're asking why? Before we get to why. No, we're going to get it. Before we get to why, there's a difference. That Marshal doing a deal, if I'm not, and others suddenly say it. I'm pretty sure the Marshal. Why are you telling me that Cotton did, and then the father has to buy him the will of the Torah, and later the Shulchan Aruch does the same thing. The Brayse doesn't say this. The Brayse makes a difference. By Tefillin, he says you have to buy him, and here not. So clearly, he doesn't have to buy it. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, we're getting it. Yeah, this is what Tosfos says. Yeah. So Tosfos and Erichin, Bahamas, Tosfos already asked the Kasha, or addressed this diuk, and Tosfos says, what's going on a bit? Why by Tefillin do we say that he has to buy him? It's not, sukkah not. He says, very simple. Tefillin, you wear the whole day. You need your own pair of Tefillin. You can't give, right? Especially when you used to wear the Tefillin the whole day. You're wearing your Tefillin, so he needs his own pair. So you have to buy him. Tzitzis, of course, this is the same thing. I'm just thinking now. Huh? Yes, like. He has one anyway. He has a 4-cornered garment, maybe. So he just has to put tzitzis on it. But you don't have to buy him a pair. I think that's what Tosfos is saying. I have to remember. I think what Tosfos is saying is
there's no heels to wear a whole day.
Yeah, I understand. Right. So, well, they used to.
A chiyuv? It's not a chiyuv. It's never a chiyuv to wear a whole day. They just wore it a whole day. he was to wear it. You fulfill the mitzvah, you put on tefillin, you fulfill the mitzvah. Elamai, then you,
Right.
because of the fiducia, you say it or whatever you want to say.
So what's Tosfos saying in there then? I think. No, he's saying you do need to buy the little tefillin. Why?
So I'm asking. What's
Right.
the-
Yeah.
Might have
So
to
the-
in it.
That because the mitzvah kitikuna, if you go back to the continuity, no, because you have to do the mitzvah kitikuna. The mitzvah kitikuna was to wear it. There's a lot of discussion, by the way, about the rest of the day. What's the chiyuv? Is a chiyuv once a day, and it's a mitzvah min
Once
hamutza.
upon a time, people, not everybody wore tefillin the whole day. So
Right.
whoever wasn't wearing was not doing the mitzvah to keep them.
In those days, when everyone used to wear it, I don't know.
Not
No, everyone
everyone
wore.
used to wear it. There were those that wore it. Doesn't say anywhere that everybody used to wear tefillin all day.
That's the chiyuv.
Huh?
That's the chiyuv.
Where does it say?
When you go to the bathroom, you take it off. When you go to
No,
eat, you take.
when you go to the bathroom, you're not allowed to wear it. Not that you have to wear it, except when you go to the bathroom. It doesn't say anywhere. You have to wear tefillin all day. It doesn't say
Right. No,
that.
yeah. Okay.
The pasha is also when you're davening, tefillin, everyone's davening.
So everyone's
You
davening
don't
at the same
know
time.
that.
Okay,
Oh,
I say that. Very good. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't have the lashon
Someone's
like that.
essay was rotten, so he sent me a text in New York. So I told him, you go and get another one. He said, listen, Palomay went down at different times anyways. We'll just go on the house and like a note. The young tip, I'm against shoulders all the time.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be that chat. He's very mikatz to place in there. That based on the base. Yeah, he's very mikatz. But the tefillin, everyone needs their own. Tzitzis. I think what Tosfos is saying is people had four-cornered garments. So chayv but tzitzis means you got to put tzitzis on the thing. You don't have to buy him the baguette. Everyone has a talit, everyone has a baguette. And lulav, the Tosfos says the favor is that you can give it to him after you use it. So the Mashal's kasha is already very preceded, as far as preceded by Tosfos, who took on the same thing. You don't have to actually buy the lulav. And in fact, that's what the Bryce is saying. He's chayiv and lulav, and that means you have to make sure he does the mitzvah, but you could give it to him after. So that's the question of the Marshal. So what's the answer to the question of the Marshal, right? So there's at least two approaches. One is the Taz. The Taz says no, because at the end of the day, what he's saying is the Taz says that what the Mechaber is saying, not mamish chayiv, but if you can afford it, then you need to. If you can afford it, because by halal, everyone's saying halal at the same time. So once a child is 9, 10 years old, he's saying halal. He's mechuyev in chinuch halal, right? Mechuyev in halal midrabanan, let's say. So then you have to. So everyone's shaking at the same time. So then you need to give him his own one. It's true after you use it, you can give it to him, but everyone's happening halal at the same time, like the tefillin, yeah. So he's saying someone who can afford it, right? And others say that what the Mechaber is actually addressing when he says chayiv lignas is b'chutzlar. In chutzlar, there's a problem on a regular day. So the Gemara in Daf Mem Vav says, the Rabbi says, this is. Yeah, the next topic. Yeah, Rabbi says that this is this is the Gemara. Yeah, Yeah, Rabbi says don't give your child the set of Hoshana just means a lot of an esrog. Yeah, we call Hoshanas Hoshanas, but in the Gemara, Hoshana refers to the Daled Minim. Don't give your son a Daled Minim on the first day. Why? Because the child is going to be koiner it. And he's not going to be able to, meaning to say, don't give it to him before you use it yourself, and therefore you're not going to be yoytz to the mitzvah. But it sounds like after you used it, it's not a problem to give it to him. Why? Because even if it's his, big deal. The next day it'll be his, and you don't need it. You can be yoytz with borrowed. But it comes along many different people. Moshe learns this in the Mechaber and others, that when the Mechaber says, I think it's Mistaber, yeah, that when the Mechaber says that Aviv Chayiv Liknish Lo Lulav, he's talking about nowadays. Yes, Tosfos and Erichin is right, and the Marshal and so on, that say that you can give it to him afterwards, but that's only in Eretz Yisrael. But in Chutzlar, you've got a problem because Machlokes Rishonim on whether the second day is like the first day or not. Do we say when we have Sveika D'Yoima, whether it has all the dinim of the first day or not, or is it only Le'inin Malacha? So the Machlokes Rishonim, and from the Rambam is mashma that the second day you can use shol, and anything which is kosher on the second day and onwards is kosher literally the second day, even in Chutz La'aretz. So this past Sunday would have been okay. And other Rishonim say no. Other Rishonim say that the second day, when the Chacham second day, they made it like the first day, and therefore, though it's not made a right to use the lulav of the second day, for sure not, because that's only the first day, but the dinim, the board is going to be a problem. So therefore comes along some Akrayim and say, that's what the Mechaber is saying. You've got a problem. You have to buy your son a lulav because he's chayiv in chinuch, and he's chayiv to use his own lulav in esrog. And if you give it to him after you use it the first day, what's going to be the second day? You can't take it back from him because you need your own one, and now it's the child. He can't give it back to you. So therefore, some understand that that's what the Mechaber is saying when he says chayav liknis loy lulav. L'maisa, what it really all revolves around, the etzem question is the machlokes achronim. Really, some say it's machlokes rishonim as well, and so on. Whether when you mekayim the mitzvah of chinuch, when you do chinuch, it has to be in all the details. In all the details of the mitzvah. So some say, some Klein, they bring riots from Rishonim and so on, then no.
after you've been Yotza, when the Gemara says don't give it over to the child, it means don't give it over to the child. But if you wanted to, you could lend it to him. You could lend it to him, and then before you used it. There's no problem with him using it before. You could lend it to him, right? It's mine, right? The Mechaber even continues that if you hold the lulav and esrog with your child from the Rishonim, if you hold your lulav and esrog with the child, shapir dami. So what does shapir dami mean? So the pashtus halash in the Shulchan Aruch, it matters no problem whatsoever. The question is, it's no problem. You're holding it with him, and the pshat in the Rishonim is that therefore because you're holding it with him, it's still yours. You're not giving it over to him, and therefore you can be yotza the mitzvah afterwards. But just a second, how can the cotton be yotza? How are you yotza your mitzvah of chinuch if it's not his? So some understand that what's coming out from those Rishonim is that because there's no problem with the child using shawl, so it comes out as the machlokes Rishonim and Achronim and so on. Whether a child needs to, you definitely need your own lulav the first day, and lemaisa even the second day, because we paskin you have to be machmir that the second day has the same din as the first day. And that's what we paskin, that you have to be machmir the second day as well, not to use someone else's. You have to make sure to do matanim and aslahakser and so on. But the child, even on the first day, he can use a borrowed lulav and eskis, no problem whatsoever, according to some Rishonim, and others say no. It's not true. No, chinuch has to be b'chol prat mitzvah. Just like the adult needs to use his own lulav and esrog, so too a child needs to. And the way that Klein explained the machlokes is the machlokes is svara what's going on by chinuch. Is chinuch that the child should get accustomed to doing mitzvah, and as long as he thinks he's doing a mitzvah, it's okay. So giving him a lemon would maybe be a bigger problem because he knows it's a lemon, right? But if you're giving him a kosher esrog and just that it's borrowed, so he doesn't know the din or whatever, right? So he thinks he's doing the mitzvah. You're getting him accustomed to doing the mitzvah, and that's the main thing. Or do we say that's the reason of chinuch, him to get into the habit? But the ma'isa, the chinuch of chinuch is that they should do the mitzvah and with all its details. They should do a mitzvah, right? And
if the child doesn't see the difference,
according to the first side, right? But according to the second side, right? So that's really what, and it could be that sometimes this machlokes will be lechumra the other way around. And Moshe talks about putting young children in mixed classes. So he says that basically what he says, if the point is lehisragal, so it'll be a chumrah. No, he needs to get used to the separation of genders. But if it's the actual thing, so what do you mean? The later it's to separate when it's taiva or whatever, but the young child, there's no such concern. So sometimes it could be that this svara, what we think is a kula, will be a chumrah and vice versa. But over here, it's a kula. If you say that the child doesn't need to do the mitzvah b'chol pratal, then he can use a bar. Masha'en came the other way around. So the bottom line is that Igros Moshe says exactly what Rabbi Rosenfeld was saying in Igros Moshe Chelek Gimel Siman Tzadikei. He goes through the whole thing. Machlokes Achronim, and he goes, no, the ikar is for sure that a child has to do the mitzvah the same way as an adult, and you do need to buy your. So how will we make all these years? So he says in Chelek Gimel Siman Tzadikei, he says exactly what you were saying, right? That Rabbi Rosenfeld was saying that just at the end he says, "V'lachein zashay keilu b'medinaseinu b'Europe kaharayvan." That was through a makel in Europe, like the Raven, basically, who says that you don't have to, the way that Reinim understand the Raven, that you don't have to, chinuch doesn't have to be in all the details. So it was because there was poverty, even for themselves, they didn't have an asterisk. We should have been machmir shekeinu shitas harambam v'atur v'mechaber v'magen Abraham v'roi v'achroinim v'lachein b'medinaseinu America shebaruch Hashem mishpia b'chazdei shefa b'rchos. This is just for Rabbi all time. V'gam yesh lahasik esrig u'minav ksherim b'zoil, and that you can also buy an esrig, obtain an esrig cheaply. You can also obtain expensively. You can do both. It goes both ways. You can obtain an esrig very expensive. You can also get a cheap set for your child. He says everybody should be machmir. The lignas ba'ad kol cotton cotton esrig u'minav b'yichud sheyesh shaloi ma'amish v'kayim al mitzvah.
Hitler bei Esrig ist anders wie der Hitler bei anderen.
Right. It's hot.
April house, like at the top, had to be with kind of which open right? That's the game of Parade.
Shlomo Zalman, right? They say that Shlomo Zalman, the first day he would buy his children, the third and fourth day he would tell them use my own lulav and esrog, because his esrog was more mahudar. So the third day, so you're going to have to balance those two things. But the third and fourth day, what do you mean? Why should you use yours? Just about kosher esrog, use mine. Shawl is okay. So that's what Taki used to do. But anyway, that's the bottom line, right? That there's that it seems as if especially it seems as if the majority of places can really hold that a cotton, at least to me, it seems that the cotton has to have his own, has to belong to him, and therefore with the second day, and therefore he needs his own lulav because the second day he needs his own lulav. Now, shaking this year, by the way, it wouldn't be a problem for you to have your own lulav, and after you use it to give it to your child because the next day it's fine, right? So there wouldn't be an issue. I just want to finish off. Rabbi Darren said,
Before this.
yeah, go on. What question?
The Rebbe says that even on the other days to
Seem-
makbid, what's
But it seems as if that even though shal is not, there's some sort of chumrah to do lachem. That's what you have to say. Look, you use your own lulav. I mean, if you can, but it's a short caution.
Why are your kids' possessions not yours? It's true.
Right. Right.
So why can't I say the same thing with Lulav and Esther?
When you give it to him,
I'm giving it to you, but it's mine.
so then it's more the problem.
What's more the problem?
Then he's not going to use it. You're saying the whole tomorrow.
Possession is mine. No, Marsha can't have it. Can't have it.
But if you're giving him for him to use it himself, let's say, if you're giving it for him to be Mekayim the mitzvah, then you don't want to have
His ownership is what belongs to me. Why are we separating a child's ownership?
Cotton Klein of Aina Magda, how to work. I don't know. It's not.
Cotton is your kid. I mean, only
They talk about so much. Yeah.
I'm saying it's the same as Shulchan Aruch.
And the Gemara would say we don't be talking about if I give someone else's child something.
Yeah, but your own
It's great that to say that's trying the Gemara, but
the same as Shulchan Aruch. What's up there?
Does lachem preclude truths?
was this Shutzas, Rabbi Commonson? Lulav so Shutzas, it works. Two people buy Lulav together, it's lachem. I'm sure it's discussed. I mean, that's the thing.
It's not even a Gemara.
In this Gemara over here, but it is kosher.
The Rebbe is medayik that lachem plural means that the other name had shaykhs.
By sukkah.
No, lachem.
Sukkah shola.
No, right. So the Rebbe says "V'kachtem lachem lashon abim" versus pasalah.
Why can't I be using it outside?
I'll just finish up with something unrelated.
All right, Rabbi.
2 minutes
to give us more entertainment.
No.
It's so good. No?
Well, what did he used to do?
Yeah, it's okay to make it.
No one did. Oh,
Was it, if you look in the
Is McConnell else there?
some comments when they started writing about
Okay,
this, the Rebbe there was a whole DNA over there. No, if I was the whole shot, if it belongs to the Kahal, so therefore everyone, I think that was better. I don't know what the line said the Kahal, so yeah.
the what?
What?
Yeah, right.
Use it, right now it's yours, then it goes back. Everyone said.
When you use it's totally yours. Rabbi Darren said that this yeshiva Chol Hamoed is not meyuad for divrei drush, but only divrei purple. But the last 3 minutes, I just want to say something nice, which I saw some. I don't remember where. I didn't see it this year. Itkin, he's over here. We got permission just to say. So divrei drush. Divrei drush is that the Chag HaSukkos, right? The pasuk says, "Sukkos Teitru Shivas Yom and Man Yedidor Yisayim Kiv Sukkos Yishavti," right? And then or the back, the famous back. It's one of the unique places. Normally, the Torah doesn't tell you why you need to do a mitzvah, right? It doesn't say L'kachtem L'chem Lulav B'Yom so that you should unite the different Yidden or the whatever, all the different shatim should be done, right? The Lulav Sukkah is one of the exceptions where the pasuk itself tells you what the purpose of the mitzvah is. What's the goal? The goal of Sukkah Shivas Yom is so that we should know Kiv Sukkos Yishavti, and the back says the Nafkamin and right? That when you're in the Sukkah, you need to actually have this kavanah. Usually, you don't need to have kavanah protest. As long as you know you're doing a mitzvah, you're right to the mitzvah, and it's no problem whatsoever. Here, ideally, you should have, in order to do the mitzvah properly, you need to have kavanah of the Tama mitzvah as well, that the Eibush protected us when we came out of Mitzrayim. So when you're in school, what? Right? So when you're young or in school, or the reason that everyone, what the sukkah, what do you mean that Eibush protected us? What does it mean Kabasukkah Shavti? So it means the Nani are covered, right? That's what Rashi Al-Torah says, and that's what Paskin in Halacha and in the Torah and the Shulchan Aruch and Al-Rebbe, that the Eibush protected us with Anani Yaakov. In the Gemara in Sukkot Daf Yud, there's 2 days. Sukkot Yishavtis B'nei Yisrael. One Amorah says, Sukkot Mamish, and the other one says Anani Yaakov. Right? The one that we're familiar with is Anani Yaakov, and Be'emes is ganz verständlich. If you want to celebrate. You're thanking the Eibush, the whole Yom to the mitzvah of Sukkah to commemorate something that the Eibush did for us. So you see us Mitzrayim, Matan Torah, Shavuot, Sukkahs, the Nani Akol, the Eibush to protect us in a miraculous way. According to the day, Sukkahs Mamish, what's Ramais is this? What does it even mean? The Pashas, it means that we built our own Sukkahs, and we're the Sukkahs say Shabbat and Eibush, he enabled us. Everything's from the Eibush, yeah. So the Sukkahs Mamish, what's the great thing? So I just wanted to say, I saw it somewhere. I thought it was very, very nice, right? That often it's very easy. Sukkahs is about gratitude. Sukkahs is about being thanked Chag HaOseh. You're thanking the Eibush for everything he gave you. It's very easy sometimes to focus on the Nani Akava, the miracles, the fantastic Nisim, the fantastic Nisim that the Eibush has done for us. But there's another day in the Gemara. There's a day of the Sukkos Mamish that we also have to appreciate. We have to understand that all the things which are not necessarily Nisim, simple Sukkos Mamish. That we also, it's a time we have to remember that the Yom Tov and Sukkos and thanking the Eibush, we have to thank the Eibush for those things which don't seem like miracles, but they're really everything's from the Eibush. We have to look out for these. Be grateful for all our cards to take for all the little things that we have.
Yeah.
Minyan.
For Mincha?